So we know that repeated addition can be written as multiplication for groups of 3 and equals 12. And the same works with fractions. So if you had a half plus a half plus a half, we can say 3 groups of a half, which ends up being 3 halves, which is 1 and a half. And you can easily see that that would combine to be 1 whole, and then you have a half left over. But why does that work the way it does? There's several things to remember. One, what's the denominator of a whole number? And there's always a denominator of 1. So that'll be a key part once we realize or establish the rule of multiplying fractions. Any whole number is always over 1. We just never write it because the 1 doesn't influence the number in any way. So how do we prove or show the multiplication of fractions and the result, or the product, their answer? So if we have a rectangle, and let's say we represent it with a half, and we want to multiply by 2/3. I'm going to take that same rectangle and I'm going to cut it into 2/3 and color in 2 out of 3 of the rows. And now I just need to look and decide how many of the squares of the full rectangle have 2 colors. How many are overlapping? Well, there's 2 sections that have both blue and red. And how many pieces are there in total now? Well, it's been cut into 6 slices, and it's 6. Can you begin to see the pattern of what our rule is for multiplying fractions? We'll try one more. If we go with, let's cut this one into 4ths, and we want to try and get our pieces as equal as we can. And let's say 3/4. 1, 2, 3. So we have 3/4 times well, for ease of drawing, we'll keep quarters again, and we'll say 1/4. So there's now 1, 2, 3 squares that have both colors in it, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4 by 4, so there are 16 small pieces in total. Can you find a pattern in our 2 fractions that are being multiplied and their product? So what do you notice about numerators and denominators of the given fractions and what they result in their answers? You should be able to see the pattern where if you multiply the numerators, the 3 times 1 is going to equal 3. And you multiply the numerators, 4 times 4 is 16. Here, 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 1 is 3, and then that, even if it's not written, we know that there is that denominator of 1. 1 times 2 is 2. So the rule for multiplying fractions, even if it's a whole times a fraction or a fraction times a fraction, is you multiply the 2 numerators, multiply the 2 denominators, and then either reduce, so this is going to be 1/3, because we can divide both top and bottom by 2, or convert and reduce. So this was an improper, we converted it to a mixed fraction. And that is how we multiply fractions.